The meaning of the dark night of the soul and a spiritual awakening is interchangeable. It is not necessarily two different things or two different scenarios. These two are tied together and go hand in hand in the awakening process. Spiritual awakening can be described as the actual event that happens in order to initiate the dark night of the soul, as the dark night of the soul is the actual work that we must put in and overcome due to the event and or trigger that initiated the spiritual awakening and the process of the dark night of the soul to occur. The dark night of the soul is a self-reflective kind of work that is mirrored by the events and circumstances that surrounds us and is known to linger for a period of time in order to heal and work through the necessary. And both of these circumstances can happen multiple times throughout life. It's not something that happens once and you are reborn again. It happens many times as a rebirthing process, as a growth process to initiate different rites of passage throughout our lives. We can be reborn multitude of times within one's life. It's a never-ending process. Healing, growth, and self-transformation is a continuous path within life and the human experience as a spiritual being. Life is about accepting the ebbs and flows of life. Things will not always be up, but it will also not always be down. Happiness is joy and contentment no matter the circumstances in life due to the belief that you will always be taken care of because of the natural ebbs and flows of life. And this is the truest anchor for anyone going through an awakening and or the dark night of the soul. The spiritual awakening is the initiator, the change that is needed to follow and go down the path of self-reflection, to foresee and understand and understand the truth of all things with this newfound knowledge and information that you have opened up to in this initiation process. A spiritual awakening is the initiation of new neural pathways opening up into new systems and information in how we perceive and see information and how we decipher the world around us. As new ways of thinking and seeing through the mind and the mind's eye become awakened. One may argue that this is not a new way of thinking. It is the opening up of ancient knowledge and ancient knowing that has been lying dormant for us to rediscover within ourselves. That is the progress and the process of this human experience, operating in a soul-centered way versus the surface level way we have been duped to believe in that only exists and what should be followed within our societal construct. The dark night of the soul is a process and time period where we fully face ourselves, and as some may perceive, we are forced, due to the outside circumstances, to face what we have yet to see or what we have been avoiding to see. The dark night of the soul happens when we refuse to see our lives and ourselves clearly, so we keep going a path we have known to, when we deeply know it is not the righteous path. The dark night, initiated by the awakening, will slowly unravel all that we have been hiding or avoiding in our lives and within ourselves. The dark night is not something that should be feared, but something that should be accepted as a crucial turning point in one's life to invoke the change necessary, the change needed for the necessary growth in order to take us towards the next chapter for us. People perceive it as scary because we must be forced to face what we have been too scared to face all this time. Forced to face the truth about ourselves that we must rather hide from and not deal with. Forced to face with the external world that we don't want to see clearly for the world and the life we have created for ourselves. Because most people would rather ignore what is creating their discontentment in exchange for comfort. Because it is perceived to be too hard to unpack the reality and what we wish for ourselves, to remind ourselves of the person and the life we wish and would rather have created in this world. Because working through our dark night of the soul is unpacking all the ugly within ourselves and our lives and having a clear view on it without the feelings and emotions we used to be able to easily hide from. There is no more room for us to hide from it, as the dark night of the soul is divine order in order to make you better at the end of it. The most profound measure of growth is when we are in a place of discomfort. Massive growth does not happen when we are comfortable. Letting go of the mask, the falsities, the identity of the ego self, of societal expectations, and leading with the soul as the center driving force of it all, instead of the egocentric way that we have been programmed within this world to be. Overcoming the dark night of the soul and leading with authenticity, unleashing the truest you is a daunting task and will need the choice of courage to walk back into the world with the utmost authenticity, with no room for no more delusions, no more deceptions within ourselves, our own being, and in return, projected out into the external world that surrounds us in order for us to properly align in the external world towards what we truly seek. We all carry variations of our own story, but in hindsight, our stories are of the similar path. Thanks for listening and receiving this message. Please take what you need, let go of the rest. If you have enjoyed this content and it resonates, please support in any way you can. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. If you're interested in working with me as a life coach or if you need more information about my coaching services and specialties, I'd be happy to give you more information. Please email me. My email is down below, and I wish for all to find what they're seeking.